Hello, everyone. Oh, I've got some stuff here. This is going to be going on tonight. Okay. All right, everybody. So this is Cassandra Williamson coming to you from up in a holler in eastern Kentucky. Yeah, that's what we call it. Hardy, Kentucky, Mudlick Holler. Okay, Pike County, right across from Mingo County, West Virginia. So yeah, the accent you hear and the voice you hear, that is all Kentucky. I just fixed vittles too. I don't know if it means anything to you, but yeah. Well, on tonight's show, we got a couple of things I wanted to do. I wanted to talk first, though, about something that's kind of very important, really important. Okay. And this is this parade that President Trump is putting on this coming Saturday, ostensibly in honor of the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, which is a laudable thing to do. Okay. Definitely. Absolutely. Very praiseworthy, as a matter of fact. And so is the fact that June 14th is also Flag Day, 248 years. So after the resolution that created, or at least acknowledges that flag as our flag by the Continental Congress, the Second Continental Congress, actually, in 1777. So here we are. We have this parade coming up, and we have a few things that need to be addressed pretty quickly. First thing is, it may rain on his parade. National Weather Service is issuing a weather statement for Saturday, saying it'll be cloudy Saturday morning and thunderstorms Saturday night. Many of us are applauding that one, but I'm pretty sure that President Trump will take out his Sharpie and kind of correct that for the weather station. Yeah, I don't doubt it one bit. Pull out that Sharpie, President Trump. You're going to need it Saturday to fix the weather. So one thing you can do, though, if it doesn't rain on his parade, which I hope it does, I hope it just pours down the rain and no one gets hurt. I hope it pours down the rain, because I do not like seeing this. This goes against everything in me about protecting and defending our Constitution, folks, about defending the traditions of this country. It goes against all of that. This parade does. It is so reminiscent of things that the Soviet Union would do every few years. Run a parade, actually every year, I think. Run a parade through Moscow with the big missiles, the phallic symbol missiles, and they'd run all that stuff through Moscow every year, celebrating their victory in World War II. Yeah, but they also lost about 18 or 19 million people there. But that also tells you something about how Putin sees Ukraine. He does not care to throw all of his men and women into this fight, no matter how many it takes. He's willing to sacrifice them to take control of Ukraine. And anyway, so I kind of got sidetracked there. Yeah. So back to the parade. This parade that reminds me of things the Soviet Union did. That reminds me of things that North Korea has done. That reminds me of things that Viktor Orban would love to do. That reminds me of things that, I don't know, the Ayatollah Khomeini in Iran would do, but not America. Now, France did it. Yes, during Trump's first term. Yeah, they did. And that's supposedly where he got the idea to do one in the United States. And he figured that he could do one better than France, at least. He's competitive. You got to give him credit for that. He is a competitive person, very strong man kind of person, an authoritarian kind of person, because he's a businessman. Now, don't take that in the wrong way, because I do know what that's like. I've had businesses of my own for over the past 40 years. And, there are times when you have to be authoritarian in those businesses. There are times when you say, this is going to be done now, right now, get it done now. And there are times when you say, can you give me some suggestions? Because you own it. Yeah, that's a business leader, but that is not how you run a country, at least not our constitutional republic. That is not the way this is set up to run. But he is reshaping this in the form of his business. As a matter of fact, there's a headline today from Raw Story. I just saw it. It came across my news feed. It says, Trump says he'll assume total control over U.S. steel under the New Deal. saying he has a golden share. In other words, the U.S. government will run that business as a state-operated business with 51% of the shares owned by the office of the president. Yeah, check it out. Go look it up, read it a little bit. Find out what you think. Do you think that's really appropriate? No, he's running things as a business, folks. He's cleaning house because that's how businesses sometimes have to save money. And that's how government has to save money sometimes too, by the way. There's nothing wrong with having to do that. I know that other presidents have done it. Democrats and Republicans have done this in the past. That's just the way it is. Ever so often people get all of this. They go through cycles. They cycle through different ideas that come back and go away and come back and go away. And that's where we are today. We're at the high point of a conservative control of the country and ideological control by the conservatives. They are wielding that power. So one thing you can do for the Saturday's parade that's supposed to honor the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, in which it will look like it does that until Trump starts speaking. That's right. When Trump starts speaking, it'll sound very much like what happened down at Fort Bragg. The same thing. And some people are going, well, he did a good job down there. Yeah, but you don't know all the back details, do you? You don't know all the back details. The people who were allowed to be there with him on stage, the Army personnel and the 82nd Airborne, they were asked their political affiliation. They were asked that if you are overweight, you can't be there. They were told. And then there was also a Trump merchandise truck on the base. Have you ever heard of anything like that on a military base? I have never heard that. It's never occurred that I know of when I was in the military. That would be something that would have gotten somebody thrown in jail allowing that to happen. Come on there and go, hey, America first, Trump for president. Right. Yeah, that's a lot of the stuff that took place there. And besides the fact, he just can't stop talking about the past of his own problems during the first term and the re-election effort at the end of his first term and all that kind of stuff. He just can't let it go. He is very vengeful. Don't y'all know that? Very vengeful. He'll say one thing to your face and immediately say something else and then go do something else. Just imagine I imagine that's what Elon Musk is feeling too. He was told it's going to be all right. It'll be all right. We're going to protect the space industry and all this kind of stuff. And then Trump goes around and going, we're going to cut all of those programs in NASA right now. And he no doubt sold it to Musk as, we're going to do all of that. That way you can get your own stuff going better. Yeah, no doubt. That's what he did. These people are conniving. Con people. So, let it rain on Saturday. Pour down the rain. Lightning and thunder and all of it. Stop it. Stop that parade. It is a gaudy affair. It really is. It makes me feel really bad for our country because you have a president who is celebrating his birthday, and he has a right to celebrate his birthday. Don't get me wrong. He has that right to celebrate his birthday, but not to celebrate it in conjunction with having a military parade, saying that the parade is there to honor the 250th anniversary of the Army, when in fact it's just about your parade. And how can I say that with a straight face? Well, look, those are all kinds of reasons to support that. One, he tried the parade thing back in his first term in office. He tried it then. And two, here's another thing. He loves having his ego stroked every chance he can get. And people know that. So that's why you have all these people, all these cabinet members and all these world leaders all going around. Mr. Trump, President Trump, you're doing such a great job. I mean, you have changed the world, and we're looking forward to how you're going to change everything else for the better. Just come on. Can I give you a jet that the royal family owned? Because, we think that you're one of us. And he goes, oh, wow, you wouldn't give me a jet, would you? You wouldn't do that for me, would you? No, come on. Oh, really? I've always wanted a royal jet. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. The Qataris know how to manipulate him. Putin knows how to manipulate him. Every world leader with their, if they've got any smarts at all and their intelligence people are kind of helping them out, they know how to manipulate Trump too. It's give him a golden toilet and he'll be all right. Now notice I left out the fact that he likes golden showers. Well, and I don't mean he probably has a golden shower. I don't know. Never been there. I know that the Oval Office looks so gaudy right now. It's all covered in gold and it looks like some royal palace. That's the way he looks of himself, folks. Don't y'all see that? He sees himself as being the royal leader of the country, and he soaks it up. He loves every moment of somebody who kind of falls on their knees for him and is very obsequious to him, bowing down and curtsying before him. His cabinet's doing it. The Qataris did it. German leader, the UK leader. I mean, just start rattling down the line. There's a bunch of them. A bunch of people have done that. They walk over and they go, Mr. Trump, you are such a good leader. We're so glad you are a strong leader. Yep. They know how to stoke his ego and make him feel like king of the world, and he'll turn around and stab you in the back in a heartbeat if it doesn't go the way he thinks it should go. That's why he wants to run U.S. Steel from the White House. That's why he likes this idea of the jet. That's why he has the Oval Office all turned into a gold display of gaudiness in the gilded time of the 1880s through 1913 period. That's why all that's there. And you have people like the Five, with the exception of Jesse Katarlov over there, but people on the Five are going, oh, Mr. Trump is such a good one, good leader, the best, the world's greatest leader for the United States that we've ever had. Ranks right up there with George Washington and maybe even better than George. That's the way Trump sees himself. Don't believe it? Just watch. Open your eyes. Pay attention to what he does, and you'll see that he thinks of himself as being the best ever, period. It's no joke. The Five backs him up over on Fox News. The Five with Jesse Waters, Greg Gutfeld, Dana Perino, and Jessica Tarlov today. And their other person, Greg, who sits in there today too. I don't know his last name, but he's former military. But it's funny to watch them too, because Jesse gets all bent out of shape every time somebody says something about masculinity. Jesse has a view of masculinity that is performative. And he won't like that word, but that's what it is. He sees masculinity as performative by his standards. He sets the rules. He's probably going to like this. Let's see. Yeah, I drank out of a straw. And he's going to say, well, that's because you're not a man. Well, okay, I don't know how he's going to address that particular thing. I know my genes. I know that superficially my genes say male, okay? X and Y. I know that on a very superficial level. But that's just the biology, the genetics of it. That's not gender. That's the sex, but not the gender. Gender's female, so I'm going to drink out of my straw, Jesse. And you can figure out how to figure that one out. Oh, my goodness. I have too much fun doing this. So, yeah. And I did send him a text, a message on X today, on both of my X accounts. And I told him he was sitting there with his legs all sprouted out again. My cousin thinks he's just being humorous with all that, but I think he really believes this stuff. I think he really does believe this. I really do, because there's nothing funny about what he says. I mean, it might be funny for some people who actually agree with him, I suppose, but that's, I don't know. It's just kind of really confusing to me in that sense, because I did send him a message and said, Jesse, close your legs. Nobody wants to see the inside of your legs. And then Greg keeps jumping in on the conversation that Jessica is leading, and then just cuts her off all the time. Cut her off. And I told him, Jesse or Greg, shut up. Let her talk. It's her time. But no, they want to run all over her. Whew, my gosh. They act like a bunch of sophomore kids up there. Probably less than that. Sophomore might be kind of a step up. They didn't talk a whole heck of a lot about the parade today, at least not in most of it that I watched. However, we know it's coming. We know what's happening. If it doesn't rain, boycott the thing. If you can't boycott it and get away with doing that, because you'll be made fun of by the right for doing it, and you'll become the brunt of all of their jokes because the media and the people over on the left decided to boycott Trump's birthday parade through DC. And, that's fine. Do it. There's people who are having all kinds of different protests and marches, stuff like that, all around the surrounding cities in the DC Metroplex. All kinds of things going on outside there. The No Kings thing. Remember why? I know you know why they do that. They call him the king, right? Well, I just explained all that to you at the top of the show. But anyway, so stuff's going on all over the place to draw people away. There is actually an event taking place in Philadelphia with the No Kings group. A march there, a protest there. Veterans of all political persuasions agree, with more than 51% agreeing that it is wrong what Trump is doing. It is a bastardization of our traditions in this country. But he has no sense of any of that. He doesn't care about that. He is completely and totally amoral, meaning neither good nor bad, just kind of in the middle. Whatever works for him to get what he wants, that's what he'll do. All you have to do is look at his businesses and the strongman tactics he's used throughout his life with his businesses. You didn't do a good job. You forgot to put that bolt on that electrical panel right there in this big building, this 19-story or 20-story building, and you left a bolt out. So I'm not going to pay you that $100,000 I owe you because you did that and I had to go do it myself. That's Trump. That's the way he's operated all along. Everywhere. The other stuff I've already kind of touched upon about the Trump assuming total control of U.S. Steel. Let me see what else we have on the agenda to talk about today. Hegseth has not said whether or not he will abide by the judge's orders telling him to get the Marines out of L.A. He hasn't decided that. He didn't answer the question when he was asked that today on Capitol Hill. So we have a lawless federal government right now, a lawless executive branch of our federal government. And they want all of us to abide by the laws out here while they ignore them. All the orders, all those things, they'll take all of it to court over and over and over again, drag it out, completely just abuse of the system. That's what it amounts to. Abuse of this legal system. And they'll keep doing it over and over and over again. In the end, we may have to have a Tiananmen Square if it doesn't rain and we can't boycott it completely, the parade. In the end, we may have to have a Tiananmen Square type situation where if you could get over the anti-scale barriers, which means you're not supposed to be able to get over top of that and get out into where the actual parade is going on. Like herding cattle down through the chute to get them to go into the slaughterhouse or into the barn or whatever, or onto the truck to be led to the slaughterhouse. The parade's going to be inside these barriers to keep Americans from getting close. Think about that. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. And I'm not suggesting anyone do this, but I'm going to tell you, it would suck the air out of this whole parade This whole activity, if someone were able to scale that and get in there without getting stopped, tackled, or shot. Don't do it unless you are convinced that you can do it safely. God Almighty. Don't want anybody hurt. Let me just say it that way. But I will tell you, that will suck the wind out of this thing in a big way. The media will not be able to get off of your involvement in this parade and pointing out the stupidity of this event. So let me see what's going on over here in the chat box, if anything. I thought there was something there, but I can't tell for sure. No, nothing in chat. So everyone, thank you for watching. I thank all of my supporters from all over the country and the sponsors from different places in Florida and up in Maryland and DC area, as a matter of fact. Different people, Pennsylvania and all over the place. People are being supporters for us. And I'm looking forward to engaging with all of you again tomorrow at noon-ish Eastern and 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Have a great evening and